Hi everyone, welcome to day 22 of the 30-day music mini challenge. Today's topic is near and dear to my heart, and it's about releasing tension. We touched on it in the posture and the movement segment, talking about how important it is to be aligned, talking about how certain movements can help release tension. And it's so important. If you're as old as I am, you've probably dealt with pain or injury at some point in your career, or perhaps it was a result of typing or some other repetitive thing that you do in your life, or perhaps something that you do in your life that doesn't have quite the right alignment. And so you really want to focus on releasing that tension and creating that correct alignment. If you haven't dealt with pain or injury, you want to avoid that, right? And also for all of us, regardless of whether we have pain and injury happening at this moment or in our past or not, or whatever, releasing tension helps our performance. It helps enhance our sound, allows us to relax within our body. It helps us build a faster articulation. Certainly if we're tense, we cannot articulate quickly by any means. By relaxing, it helps give us that little extra bit of brain space so that we can focus more on expression. For example, when I have students work on their body posture or relaxing tension, even though they're putting almost what they think of as all their efforts into that, oftentimes their performance is enhanced just with that focus, not even focusing on the technique. And of course, this isn't always the case, but the power of relaxing and releasing tension should not be underestimated. It is huge. And some areas that a lot of my students struggle with in particular are the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, the hands, the arms, and also even the toes. I've had some students come in and their toes are gripping the ground like they're a swimmer jumping off the starting block. It's intense. And so as much as we can realize where this tension is in our body and we can work to relax it in a really helpful, productive way, which is where teachers come in handy, and I'll get to that in a moment. But the more we can do that, the more our performance is optimized and we help to avoid or reduce pain and injury. So, to tell you a little bit more about this teacher aspect, of course, we have our music teachers, right? But there's also an entire industry, the American Society for Alexander Technique, students and masters and teachers. And what these people that do Alexander Technique do is they work with dancers and musicians, people that are in the arts that do these repetitive movements over a lot of time and many, many, many years or decades, and helps them to avoid injury and optimize performance, and also cope and deal with pain, because oftentimes relaxing and releasing tension is essential for being able to get through pain and be able to continue playing as long as we can. And people that are in the Alexander Technique industry, they have 3 or more years of experience teaching, working, learning towards the certification. It is no small deal. These teachers and are experts in their craft. They know the body like the back of their hand, but most specifically, they're aware of how this all works in tandem with musicians and dancers. So often our medical professionals don't necessarily have a complete understanding of, what it means to be a flute player, for example. We're spending, half our lives looking this way with our flute in in an unnatural, very not ergonomic position, to the point where, there's been times in my life where I've actually built such strong muscles for my flute playing muscles, where the muscles that are opposite that actually have diminished. I have one muscle in particular on my left side in my back that, because this arm is always forward for the flute and for conducting and piano and all the things that I do, and probably for piano I should keep it more further back. But because the shoulder is a little bit forward, I don't have there's one of these muscles in my back and in the front that just doesn't work quite right. So it's really important to understand musicians and understand what it means to release tension while playing your music, which is really important. So one thing that Alexander Technique people talk about, they talk about tonus. And tonus is about that proper alignment that we talked about with posture, and about using only the muscles that we need, and having them aligned in just the right way. And for some students, they have to learn this. For example, my daughter, who was lucky enough to take some Alexander Technique classes recently, she had to learn how to align her body, and even still needs quite a bit of reminders and support with that. She has what's called low muscle tone. Doesn't mean that she's not strong. All it means is that when she's relaxed, she's like this. And instead of just having a well-aligned posture, and she's kind of slumped in the chair and allowing the chair to completely support her. And so for her, she's had to learn what it is to properly align. If you look at babies and toddlers, they have natural alignment, and something happens along the way when we all kind of slump over and have to really work those back muscles to get back into gear. So it's fascinating stuff. And so Alexander technicians can also help release tension. And that's really what I have learned from Alexander Technique. My first exposure to it was in college, and I had a friend of mine, and he let me sit in on his lessons, and he would just be lying down for the whole lesson, working on releasing tension, just lying down. Try that tonight. Try when you lie down, try to release all the tension. Try to be aware of where the tension might be and try to relax it. You will be amazed as you practice checking in with your body, which that alone can take practice. You know, I have students that come in like this and they say, I'm relaxed, because that's their natural state. You know, so oftentimes we have to be kind of cued into this and really spend a lot of time thinking about it before we even notice what the tension is and where it's at, and let alone how to release it, right? So this can take some time. And so you want to be patient and understand that, just like yesterday, we talked about how you have to practice focus, you have to practice relaxing. How funny is that? Anyway, so you want to find the tension and you want to relax it while maintaining this tonus, this proper alignment. And one of the things that I learned from Alexander Technique, which has changed my life, and I was lucky enough to learn it at a summer festival out at Tanglewood years and years and years ago, and that is that we hold a lot of our tension in our tongue. That's weird. In our tongue. Most of you probably have no idea where your tongue is in your mouth half the time. I know I don't, unless I'm focused on it, or unless it hurts, right? So what I'm going to challenge you to do right now is to pay attention to your tongue and just try to relax it. It doesn't mean like going, but it, just let it sit in your mouth and try to totally relax. If you're not sure where to put it, curve it down so the tip is behind the bottom teeth. That's a really nice relaxed position for most people with their tongue, just so it has a nice arch in there, and try to relax it as much as possible. And if you're like me, you'll find that when you relax your tongue, your jaw automatically relaxes. Your neck follows suit, your shoulders, your arms, and soon you're expressing your music the way you always wanted to, and you have that expression and that freedom to do that because you're in a more relaxed space. This takes practice. This takes time, just like everything else. So important. So I encourage you all, if you're interested, to explore Alexander Technique more. If you're looking for a teacher, I can certainly highly recommend the teacher we started working with. She is wonderful. She's a recent grad and she's absolutely phenomenal. She's patient, she's understanding. She really tries to figure things out and try to verbalize things in a way that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, she tries a new way, and she's really inventive and really fabulous. And right now, it is still possible to do this. A lot of Alexander Technique, if it's usually in person, there's a lot of hands-on. But for example, my daughter and I have been sitting in the lessons, getting a ton out of it. She and I have gotten a ton out of it, and we've been just doing it online. So it is possible, and there's so much that you can still get out of it. So your challenge, let's get down to that, is to just pick up your instrument or sing or play, whatever it is, and just notice. Don't even try to do anything about it. Remember, this is a mini challenge. Just notice where the tension is. Find one spot, because I guarantee you there's probably at least one spot that you're tense. And a step further is to try to relax that area while you're playing. And sometimes that's going to have unintended consequences. And so you just want to work through that, problem solve through that. And your bonus challenge is to see how many times during the day, during the week, you can check in with your body and notice where that tension is. Get that tonus back, that alignment, and just try to relax as much as possible. So much that we do in life is just not ergonomic. It is not happy for our body. When I run, I tend to have a lot of tension in my feet. And so I use this technique where I focus on my feet, and I focus on every time that my leg or my foot is in the air, I try to recover. I try to relax that foot while I'm in the air. When we're cleaning, cooking at a computer, hunched forward, and not good for our body alignment, and certainly not good for preventing pain, preventing injury, preventing strain. And even lying in bed, we'll find that we might be able to sleep better, get to sleep faster, if we can meditate on where that tension is and really work to relax it. So good luck. This is a long-term project if you decide to really take this information and run with it. But for now, just focus on that mini challenge and just start to just recognize or check in with your body and try to find those places of tension. So everyone, enjoy your music, nice and relaxed. Please share, inspire others to do the same, and happy relaxed practicing.